G'day legends. In a time when more people are releasing music than ever, it's super important that your mixes stand out from the rest. And the way that we can do this is make certain elements within our mixes sound interesting. We can take boring sounds, put some cool effects on them, and really draw the listener in. That's why I'm super excited to share with you two new plugins from Ujam, UFX Delay and UFX Filter. These are both powerful effects processors to help you take boring sounds within your mix and just make them sound way more interesting. So to start with, let's check out UFX Filter and see how we can use it in a mix to create a little bit more interest. So I'm going to play you the intro of this song. There's a bit of a guitar riff that's playing here, and I think we can use UFX Filter to spice this up a little bit. So you can hear how cool that sounded when we kicked in UFX Filter. This is on a preset called Ultra Fuzz. And basically we're just creating a nice warm fuzz sound. And this is making it sound just really fat. I love that. I think that sounds really cool. Check out some of these other cool presets. I'll just flick through them so you can hear what this plugin can do. So many cool sounds, and that's just within the guitar folder, and there's a ton of presets here to get you started. And that's actually something I really like about this plugin, is it comes loaded with a ton of great presets. And so you can easily skim through presets until you land upon something that sounds pretty good, and then you can start tweaking. And so within UFX Filter, you can see we've got a bunch of parameters that we can play with here. Right up the top, we have our filter mode, and you can just come down and you can choose different modes, and it automatically is going to make the sound really different again. So you can see just by changing the mode, we're already getting a massive difference in tonality. Then you can come to your filter section, play with the filter. You could use that to create cool sweeping effects. You can add a resonance peak to it. You can also control the slope of the band as well. Gentler slope lets a little bit more information through. Steeper slope is going to cut the sound away a lot quicker. We've got our envelope mod. Further tweakability of the tone. We've got a mix knob slider. You can find the perfect blend between the two. We've also got modulation, which is really cool, and you can sync this to the tempo. So we sync it, maybe put it into 16th notes, and then we pull the depth down a little bit. Have a listen to what this does. You can change the shape, so we could grab a saw. It's a little bit dirtier sounding. Sequences. Really cool, a lot of fun. You can make some awesome sounds out of this. Then up the top here, we've got the effects input mix. This basically is a secondary mix knob leading into our effects over here. So we can kind of dial in the dry sound with the wet sound before it hits our second stage of effects. Over here, we've got two knobs, shaper and finisher. And within shaper, there's a bunch of different modes, a bunch of filters, a bunch of EQ shapes. For example, we're on fuzz at the moment. You can automate that stuff and create some cool sweeping effects, but there's a ton of tonalities here that you can choose from. And the finisher is just the final effect. So you can either have reverb, you can have gating, you can have some delay. There's a bunch of cool stuff here. So if we grab something like one of these gates, check it out. Now down the bottom here, there is a fun little thing here called surprise, and it'll just dish something up for you. It'll play with all of the settings. It'll just change a bunch of stuff and just offer you some different crazy effects. Now this knob here is going to depend how big the change is going to be. Then you can pull this back and get smaller changes. Let's hear that in the mix. So you can definitely get some cool sounds out of the surprise button. And maybe you do find something that you like, but you hit it again. Don't worry, you haven't lost it, because you can always go back to the previous sound and forward to the next one. So as you can see, this is a really powerful plugin and you can get some really cool sounds out of it. Now I'm using this on some drums in the verse to create a cool filter effect. I used the tube rotor preset, and then I've automated the telephone and the finisher knob. I love that. I think that's awesome. Now I'm going to bring the vocals into the verse, and I'm doing a similar thing. I'm using a preset called Radio Echo. And then again, we do a little bit of automation and we push in a little bit of this finisher ping pong delay at the end to create this nice blooming delay effect. I've been thinking about the words that slipped right out your mouth. You should try to watch it. So a fun place to use UFX Filter is on things like pads. If you've got a kind of boring pad sound in your mix and you want to spice it up a little bit, this is a cool place to look. It's kind of lame, right? I've chucked on UFX Filter and I've loaded up a preset called Metalizer. I think that's going to sound really great in the chorus. It's having that kind of tucked in there and that little bit of movement it's adding. It's definitely helping drive the chorus in a really cool way. Now in this section, there's also like a keys synth kind of lead thing going on. It sounds like this. So just a fun little sound in there. Now I want to give this a little bit more interest. So UFX Filter again, and we're actually on a guitar preset for this one called Crunchy Wah. So I love that kind of crazy saturation it's adding, that little bit of movement with the wah effect. Like, it sounds great. This bit of effect that we're adding to it is helping it be a little bit clearer and just make the mix sound a little bit better. There's a couple other presets that I thought sounded really nice for this, but they just weren't the right fit for this track. This preset's really cool. Spherical piano creates like this cool paddy sound. So you can imagine chucking that on like a lead guitar or something like that, and it could really just like pad it out in the right song. Even tape flange sounded really cool as well. So it sounds cool. See how just tweaking these knobs can like just dramatically change it, and just adding a bit of extra warm drive and tilt made that sound really cool. So that's a couple of ways that we can use UFX Filter to make our mixes sound interesting. Let's check out UFX Delay. So again, I want to draw your attention to how good these presets sound. I'm using a preset called Tape Chorus, and I'm also automating this mix slider to move across and then come back. Have a listen to that guitar on its own, just how cool it sounds. That is a great effect. I really love the way that sounds. Now, it obviously looks very similar to UFX Filter, which is nice because you can really get familiar with the layout of this. Up the top here, we've got our modes, all of our different types of delay. This is cool stuff. So can create some nice movement. It doesn't just have to be your typical delay. These filter effects are really nice. So then we can tweak the delay settings over here. We can sync it to the BPM and set its value. You can spread the signal. You can pick between ping pong delay, stereo, and mono. You can also apply ducking, which is going to force down the delay anytime the direct signal is played. So that's pretty cool. You can create almost like a pumping effect between the dry and the wet signal. Over here, we've got the delays character. You can set the amount of repeats with the feedback, dampen the signal, and also add modulation to it. So you can hear how dramatic that is. I changed a couple of things, made the delay shorter, took away all the feedback, and then I tweaked some effects over on the side here, the filter that we had with the radio effect and a bit of chorus, and dramatically it has changed the tone, which actually sounds really cool. Like a nice slappy effect. And again, we've got our effects input mix, which basically goes between a wet and dry signal of whatever we have set here, and then that feeds into our final effects over here. So we can pick a filter and we can pick a finisher. At the moment, we're on radio and chorus, and you can always bypass either of these as well. So you can just hit that switch. And we also have that surprise dice as well within UFX Delay. It's actually pretty nice. It's a nice little bit of ambience there that sounds warm and just fills out the space nicely. That's landed on a pretty cool effect. And I absolutely love UFX Delay on vocals. I think it just sounds really nice. So check out this setting that I've been enjoying. It's called Analog Vox.
Before you tread on any more toes, but this time I heard you, and trust me, I won't forget.
So that's just a preset without tweaking any settings. But if we wanted to customize this a bit, we could play with the filter and the finisher.
I've been thinking about the words that slipped right out your mouth. You should try to watch your step before you tread on any more toes.
I like that. It's giving it a little bit of grit, a little bit of saturation. That's going to sound really nice in the mix. So here's another setting, a backing box. This again is a preset within UFX Delay, but I did change the filter to radio and the finisher to fat and dirty.
It's not me, it must be you. Nobody wins when you act like this. It's not fair. That's how life is. Nobody wins when you act like this.
All right, so that's just the tip of the iceberg, but that is a couple of fun ways that you can use UFX Delay and UFX Filter in your mixes to make them just sound a little bit more interesting, add a bit more color, just draw the listener in a bit more, just make the mixes have a bit more movement and be a bit more engaging. Like stuff like this is super important. If you don't use any effects, sometimes your mix just sounds really like sterile and a bit boring, a little bit too safe sounding. Having some cool effects that you use here and there definitely makes your mix a lot more interesting. And if you enjoyed the way that these sounded in this video and you want to try these out for yourself, hit that link in the description below, head over to Ujam and see what it's all about. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support this channel, check out that link in the description below to my website. Go and pick yourself up a sample pack or a mixing course. Grabbing any of that stuff is a massive support and you get something back at the same time. If you're always looking for new and good sounding drum samples to use within your mixes, then check out this next video coming up.